Welcome to the Greenway with Mac, a channel dedicated to active transportation. This video is a second option to choose when leaving from Bay Street in Emeryville. Click the link above to see where we started and how we got here. If you brave this short on-street portion in an unprotected bike lane, then you'll be rewarded with several miles of off-street paths in just a minute. The route covered in this video will show you how to get from Emeryville to the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge, which is locally just known as the Bay Bridge. The distance from where we started at Bay Street all the way to the observation pier at the start of the Bay Bridge is 2 3/4 miles each way. I started this route at Bay Street so that you could see the full length of the Bay Bridge Trail. I'll elaborate later, but this is also the best way to go if you're coming from the nearest BART station. The trailhead is right across from IKEA, which if you're from the Bay Area, may be the only landmark you know in Emeryville. In future videos, I will spotlight some of the many reasons why biking in Emeryville is great and continues to get better. I'm just waiting for a few more bike-related projects to wrap up before posting some more in-depth videos about this budding bike town. Most of the trail has a dirt jogging path, which you can see on the left. In front of IKEA, there's actually another spur that connects to this trail and connects right here. This trail meanders under a series of highways, locally known as the MacArthur Maze, and leads you all the way to the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge. The Oakland side of this bridge has an incredible separated pathway for pedestrians and people on wheels that was included when this replaced the previous span. At the end of the video, I'll include a link to a separate video that shows you the pathway and discusses more about the history of it. The path we are on is completely flat, but as you will see in the follow-up video, the bridge itself has a steady 2% incline and then a steep decline once at the island. It's a great distance and path for any bike, but I recognize that this distance can be pretty long for a lot of people. I was recording this using my e-bike so I could cover more ground quicker. E-bikes are allowed on the paths, but the speed limit is 15 miles per hour. I think the most important thing is to give people their space, especially when passing, to help all the users get along well and to keep everyone safe. The path we are on is part of the San Francisco Bay Trail. Originally conceived in 1986 by State Senator Bill Lockyer of Hayward, the Bay Trail is a 500-mile planned network of trails that circles San Francisco Bay. The overall network connects the shoreline to parks, open spaces, points of interest, and dozens of communities. Over 350 miles have been completed, and new segments are added every year. The vision is to create access for active users on all 7 of the bridges, and they are halfway done with the San Francisco Bay Bridge, which ends at Yerba Buena Island and Treasure Island. This trail is really great for its users because it is fully separated from traffic. It passes the 880 test, not because we are about to go under Interstate 880, but because all users from ages 8 to 80 can safely enjoy this amazing trail. You can also access this trail from this spur right here on the left. This trail leads to a parking lot and Maritime Drive. You can also access Middle Harbor Shoreline Park if you take Maritime to 7th Street, but there is not much else to safely see. Most of the area is occupied by the Port of Oakland, so large semi-trucks are regularly using these roads. I have used that spur to reach West Grand Avenue to head back to Oakland, but that route is not recommended for everyone. It's literally a painted bike gutter, and drivers fly up and down that road. There is an ambitious and impressive proposal to make an elevated, low-stress, multi-use path that would connect this trail with Oakland. The proposed path is 1.1 miles long and would land at the intersection of Mandela Parkway and Grand Avenue. There are plans to put protected bike lanes on Grand all the way to Market Street, so the vision of this project is to create some form of bike lanes from Treasure Island all the way to Lake Merritt. In addition, planners are working on a way to add a multi-use path on the western span of the Bay Bridge. An ambitious timeline has the link being completed in 2030. At that point, I think the sum of all of these elements, the protected bike lanes, the spectacular ride, and the use of e-bikes could make this a very popular connection between Oakland and San Francisco. This structure is the Bridge Yard, which was recently restored and converted into an activity hub and venue for events and conferences. If you are planning to park and then bike this trail in the Bay Bridge, then there are a few options for you. There is plenty of hourly parking in garages where we started the ride at Bay Street. If you're looking for something shorter, or just want to do the Bay Bridge, then another option is a 5-hour parking lot located at 210 Burma Road. This lot is conveniently located right next to the trail. In fact, that's it over on the left. You can also use BART to access these trails. This map recommends taking West Grand from 19th Street or 40th Street from MacArthur Station. Personally, I would avoid taking Grand for the reasons mentioned earlier. On 40th Street is this Sharrow bike lane thing, but I still think it is the safer option. MacArthur is also served by 2 BART lines, so you have more options to connect to it. 40th Street turns into Shell Mound, which is where this ride started, so finding the trailhead in front of IKEA is easy. You can also turn right on Horton and take the bike bridge for fun. Right here is the foot of the Bay Bridge. The rest of this video will show you the way to the observation pier, but if you just want to jump ahead to the bridge ride, then click the card here. The pier is only a half a mile away, so if you're not in a hurry, then it's definitely worth a stop to see the view. The path to the pier is separated from the road and has 2 crossings, one right when we started, and this one right here. The observation pier was constructed using foundations from the original bridge. The original Bay Bridge's eastern span was damaged during the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. I'll share more about that story in the follow-up video that covers the path alongside the bridge. Judge John Sutter was a founding member of the East Bay Bicycle Coalition, and this regional shoreline is named for him. Key system trains ended at a pier here, which people used to transfer onto ferries and cross the bay to San Francisco. The Bridge Yard building that we passed earlier is where those trains were serviced. This land is also the west gateway of the Oakland Army Base, which was used until 1999. They are in the process of repurposing most of the remaining Army Base's land for a logistics center that serves the Port of Oakland. The pier has seating areas and stunning views of the new bridge and back towards the Port of Oakland. We saw an assortment of birds hanging out below the underbelly of the new span, wading in the water, and enjoying a shady break from the sun. Between the bridge, the bay, the port, and the wildlife, there's plenty here to relax and spend time observing. I usually post to Instagram when I'm making these videos, so if you'd like a sneak peek of future video locations, then search for me using the same name as this channel, The Greenway with Mac. If you like finding new greenways, then subscribe to the channel. I try to post 1 or 2 of these videos a month. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you on the next Greenway.